Hi, I'm Jeff Slavens with Slavens Racing, and this video is about how to put fork oil in WP forks and how to correctly set the oil height. So when you pour the oil in, you want to make sure that you don't get it in this area. It should not go down that hole, or if you have that rod out, you don't want it to go inside that other hole either. If you get oil in there, it will come out the fork cap rebound adjuster. And it just makes a mess. Over time, it just leaves a film constantly on top of your fork cap. So just pour the oil in carefully like this. Just go real slow. Pour the oil in all the way up to the top of the chrome tube, which is the inner tube. You can see it bubbling there, which is, we don't want bubbles. So in order to get those out of there, we've got to force the oil down into the system. And I just lift it up. Put my hand over the top here and push down to create pressure in there. That forces the oil down. Now you can see that the oil level is going way down. So we've got to add more oil. All the way back up to the top again. And you can see it's still bubbling. Not a good sign. So do the pressure push on it again. Now the oil has gone down again. Top it back off. Push it down in there again. It's gone down a little bit. So in addition to that, to make sure there's no air in the system, I'm going to check the damper rod. You can pull this all the way up if you want to, but you really only need to move it a little bit. If it's got a consistent feel to it, if there's air in it, it just pops right up. If it's got a lot of drag to it, that means the air is bled out of the cartridge. But you can see the oil level went down again. So I'm going to add more oil to it. Push on it again. That time it didn't go down. That's what we want. There's no air bubbles and it didn't go down. So now it's time to set the oil level. I use this is a Race Tech tool. And it's a pretty reliable tool. There's other ways to do it, but this is how I do it. And pull it all down once. I didn't get all of it out. So I'm going to go in there again. So now I've got the oil level set, but not really. We've still got to do one more step, and that is you got to grab the inner rod and pull up the outer tube. I've got my foot down here on the bottom to keep the inner tube in position. I'll lift this all the way up to the top of its travel. Then I let it back down. What that does is dump some of the fluid that's stuck between the tubes. Oh, I don't want to do that. Now I got to pull it out one more time. Now the oil level is set correctly. So if you don't do it that way, you'll end up with an oil height that's either too high or too low. This is the way they do it at the WP factory. This is the correct method. So if they say to set it at 120 millimeters, this is going to get it to that height, exactly the way it was set at the factory. So now to put the spring on, you just lift this up, and I just hold it with this finger here so it doesn't slide back down. I stick the spring on, wrap it in real quick, then I grab this up here. As I pull that up, I just kind of push against the tube. I kind of twist this whole thing. And I put the cap on. So the next problem I see people make is they don't get the cap on to the spindle all the way, this threaded spindle. And then the cap is not bottomed against that. There's an O-ring inside this cap that needs to be compressed. If it's not bottomed, then the rebound adjuster will not have full travel. You only have a few clicks, or you won't have any clicks. You can just turn and turn and turn and won't do anything. So you got to make sure you get this spun all the way down to where it bottoms out. Now I double check that. Put the wrench on there. Now this gives me freedom to mess with this. And I've got this special tool that doesn't have any teeth. And I can grab this threaded spindle and I can spin this all the way down. To where I feel it bottom, just bottom. So now it's ready to actually tighten. You can put your socket on here and tighten this down and finish the process. On this style of a fork, it also requires this special tool to tighten down the cap. That's all for today. Thank you very much.